Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton here from howtodrawcomics.net and the How to Draw Comics Academy, and welcome to this evening's studio session. It is, at least here in Australia, the 4th of the 5th, 2026, and it is wonderful to be here. In the studio, I've also got Keith, and I've got James from Acadian Comics. What's up, guys? Wonderful to have you here, students of the How to Draw Comics Academy. What's going on?
Just ready to do some drawing. I did some of my warm-ups, some gesture drawings just now a few minutes ago, so looking forward to getting into it.
Heck yeah, awesome.
How's my
How about you,
sound, Clayton?
Keith?
Is there background noise, or am
No
I coming in clear?
background noise. You sound
Okay,
good.
perfect. All right, awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And how you doing, Keith?
I'm doing good. I was doing some warm-ups as well. Not exactly gesture drawings, but just trying to do some example types of comic panels, maybe some scenes, some rough pages, and trying to
Nice.
get that kind of thing going for a warm-up, just trying to get in the swing of things.
We'll definitely take a look at those tonight, I'm sure. I can't wait to see them. And we've also got none other than the man himself, Matt Nicola, in the house. What's up, Matt? Great to see you here.
How's it going?
Good. Feeling pumped to do some drawing.
Heck yeah.
And of course, we have some people in the chat joining in. Once again, we're streaming this across the entire How to Draw Comics network on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, and probably a few other places that I haven't thought of. But the reason that I wanted to kind of get everybody in on this is just to give you a little bit of an inside look as to what these studio sessions kind of feel like for artists who join the How to Draw Comics Academy, but also just you guys joining in outside the room here in the chat. It's a wonderful opportunity for you as well, because what these studio sessions are really about at the end of the day, like the main reason that we have them, is because one of the key challenges that I'm always presented with from students and aspiring artists who really want to get a handle on this comic art stuff is that they just don't find the time to sit down and actually draw. Life is busy. We've got responsibilities, we've got commitments that we've got to keep, and a lot of the real life stuff, unfortunately, it comes in and it crowds out all the drawing time that we would otherwise have. And unless you've got that reason that's outside of yourself, that accountability to really sit down and commit, where you know that you're going to have other comic art compadres there hanging out and drawing as well, where you've got me there as kind of, the mentor, so to speak, the head of the studio. When you've got something there that you can think of as less of a choice necessarily, and more of like a commitment that you've made, a job, so to speak, like a real studio that you would be going into and sitting down and getting some work done. Except here's the thing, you're actually working on your own project and making progress on that. That's what these studio sessions are really for, and why we have them in the academy, so that you can tell your friends, tell your family, this time in the week is for me. It's for a few hours, and I've got to be there because right now is when it's happening. And of course, seeing your other fellow comic art mates in the studio drawing, working on their stuff, watching them grow, working through the challenges that they might be coming up against, that can be a really inspiring experience as well. It lets you know that you're not on your own, that everybody is going through this. They're at different stages. Some of them might be better than you, some of them might be worse, some of them might be on your level, but regardless, there's something for everybody when it comes to these studio sessions. And I think that, we have our feedback sessions, we have our classes, but I think the studio sessions are probably one of the session types that we have in the Academy that is really the most memorable and the most rewarding sometimes. So that's just to give all of you who are tuning in out there the down low on what's actually going on here. But, you know, we have Mick Sheldon in the chat. What's up, my friend? Great to see you. We've got Luxian97. What's up? Great to see you here. Fatal J. Awesome. Glad you guys are here. Get out your sketchbooks and let's do some drawing. I'm going to catch up with each one of you here in the studio. Let's start with James, since James was first. You know, you were the first one sitting in there doing your thing. How you been, man? How's this week been treating you art-wise?
It's been good. You know, reference is your friend. I've learned to love reference, and you know, it's just interesting how it can just make a big difference. You know, I look at it in a different way than I used to look at it. It's like, you know, we have like memory in our brains, right? And our memory doesn't actually translate perfectly to whatever it is we're going to draw. So we need something to help us remember, that's how I want to draw this particular thing in this particular way. So I
For sure.
had that experience this past week beyond just doing my daily gesture drawings, which I've come to love actually. And just for everybody like watching, like, you know, Clayton is basically saying, you know, he's like our Mark Silvestri in the studio. You know, he's he's like the studio head. So,
well, you know, it's good to have somebody there to just, you know, make it happen for you. It can be really hard to force yourself to sit down and do this stuff. If you know you got me there, who is like, you know, the head of the Academy, and
it's
then
like
you've got your
accountability,
classmates, it's a huge amount of accountability, which I think is honestly the missing factor from a lot of art education that is currently out there.
Sure.
And it's why I designed the Academy in the way that I did. So, yeah, for sure. For sure. I try to inspire, James. What can I say?
Well, it's working. It's working. So yeah, I just, you know, I did that, and, you know, I was doing my normal gesture drawings, but then I started, okay, let me see if I can do something that's going to challenge me a little bit. And I can say that daily gesture drawing, it kind of fills up those memory banks, and it gives you something to work with when you're trying to get that pose. Like if you're trying to do like a, you know, if you're trying to just get maybe like a pin up or something and do a particular pose, you can work through the problems. You can work through it and kind of figure it out and feel your way through the drawing in ways that, you know, are harder to do if you don't have that repetition, that daily practice where it's boom, boom, boom. You know, you're going through and doing that gesture drawing. And most of the gesture drawing that I do lately through Proco is just like, a lot of it is female gesture, but, you know, there's a lot you can learn from that, and I find it complements the male gesture drawing as well. You know, so I've been getting a lot out of that. Just, I think ratio wise, Proco just has more female models on their platform, so maybe I could switch it up, do line of action or whatever. But I'm really loving that Proco timer. It's like my favorite thing to do now, is just work through it and just fill my page with just gesture drawings. You know, I'll do like 10 or 12 at a time and just work through it, you know. So it's been good.
For sure. Good. Proco, such an awesome site. So proco.com, you know, I know he's basically a competitor, right? But I mean, when you've got good stuff, you've got good stuff. And Proco certainly was somebody who helped me out with my drawing in the beginning, one of the people.
Well, you recommended it, Clayton, so I'm not out of line by saying Proco's
Oh, no, not
cool,
at all.
you know?
Not at all.
I'm not trying to point people to your competitors. I'm
advising everybody, because, you know, maybe there's already a link in the Academy to Proco, but I'm advising everyone to go there,
the timer,
check out the figure drawing tool, the timer tool, and to do some figure drawing. The really cool thing about Proco's tool is figure drawing tool is that you're able to load in whatever photo packs you want that they have available on the site.
Yeah.
Now, there's quite a few free ones. There's premium ones as well, obviously. I mean, the guy's running a business, but the free ones on their own are incredibly awesome.
It's
Like
hundreds of
yeah.
images, maybe even
And
over 1,000. Who knows? When you click all of them and you do all of them, I try to get as much variety as I can with the selections. But I don't think I've maybe within a 2-week period I've maybe have drawn the same figure twice on 2 different days, so maybe 4 different times. But other than that, it just boom,
that's not
boom,
a bad
boom.
thing either.
It's
I
pretty
mean,
good. Yeah.
Practice makes perfect, right? And as you said, the models are really quite nice to draw as well. Like the physiques are good, and just
Everything's clear. It's very clear with the anatomy,
very clear.
and it's good.
Professionally made. What's up, Chuck Lee? Great to see you. We've got Mega Crick UE4. Wonderful to have you. Look, I'm not going to try to pronounce some of your usernames there. They're pretty tough. I'm not going to lie, but it is. Just know that I love having you here. I see all your comments. It's amazing. Make sure that you got your sketchbook there and that you're ready to get some drawing done. We have Rex in the studio as well. What's up, Rex? Great to see you here.
Good to see you guys too. How y'all doing?
Hello.
Good,
Doing
good.
great.
Oh, we're feeling good. James was just telling us about his figure drawing practice. Now, the most important thing I wanted to ask you, James, is have you noticed that you've been improving? Now, I know that you made a little bit of progress over the last few weeks, but are you finding that it's sharpening up even more? Have you reached a plateau yet? Are you finding that they're sort of just coming out at the same level now, or how are you feeling about the actual progress that you're making from this figure drawing practice?
Yeah, I feel that it's easier to get a gesture out of just a couple of shapes in a line, a center line. So if
good.
And what's interesting is I did this absolute Superman drawing, okay, and we could pull it up whenever, but I started off doing a very rigid figure drawing, and I tossed that out. I threw it out the window. I said I don't like the gesture. So then I applied the same speed and just strokes as I would doing the practice, and I got something that I thought, okay, this has energy. I like what I see with this. Let me just run with it. And so I think that the daily practice, even if it's daily practice, is important, regardless of what you're doing. Obviously, you want to focus on what your areas of, need and want are, and what you want to focus on. But I think that just generally speaking, Clayton, just drawing every day now and not having a day off and making it a priority to do it, even if it's just a few minutes a day, is paying dividends. Now, I see what my blind spots are. Like for now, I'm just a penciler guy, right? When I get into inks, it's a huge weak spot for me, and I'm starting to feel like I feel the pressure points. Like, okay, I can push a little bit here, I can push a little bit there, but I'm feeling the pushback in my lack of skill and ability. So I kind of curl back, and then I'm like, okay, well, I've got to study this so I can break through that wall. There's a wall there. But the thing is, when you're learning, you're blind. You don't know what your walls are until you start pushing out. You have to. The whole concept of feeling the drawing and feeling around how you're doing this. It's so true, and it is like being blind because you don't know what you don't know, and that's what's been great about the Academy for me is just like here's Clayton. You have all these classes, all of these live sessions and everything, and it's just like, okay, just start here, start somewhere. Start doing this, start doing that, and then get a little bit of everything, and then you try to condense it and boil it down. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna focus on a particular aspect of my drawing and really zero in on it, and that's what I've been doing with this gesture drawing. And so my goal is to be really good at the end of the year, be really good at gesture drawing, be really good at figure drawing, and become proficient in anatomy. So that's because once you have the gesture, once you have the figure, then you lay the anatomy on top of that, and then everything else, is going to start to fall into place. Because I can draw figures in perspective. It's just I need again, that's a blind spot. Anatomy. It's like you got to write that to disk, as you say. You have to know where everything goes, and just through repetition and practice. So now what I'm doing,
hang on, doesn't gesture come first?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm
Just
doing
making
gesture,
sure.
right? I'm getting the gesture down. I'm doing the figure, and then laying the anatomy on top of that. So
Exactly. You know the process.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I can
That's
show
it.
you. I can show you later on, like what my
Yeah.
layers are and everything that I did to do that. For
Yeah,
an
for
example.
sure. Yeah,
But
get them out if you want.
yeah,
And take a
we'll
look.
do that. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Unless you want to go out around later, or do you want to give everybody an opportunity to kind of?
Oh yeah. So
Check in with
what I'll do
everybody?
is I'll jump to Keith
Okay.
next to see what he's
Yeah.
been working on.
I'll get
and
started on
then
my
we'll
drawing.
Do Matt and
So-
Rex, and you can get whatever you want to show next when I come back round, James. You can get that
That
ready.
sounds good. Okay.
Chuck Lee, heck yeah. Awesome that you're in on the Academy's Essentials tier. That is basically a never-ending library of content that's just going to get constantly updated. I have been meaning to upload another lesson, actually, that's ready to roll. And thank you for the suggestion on more figure drawing classes, gesture drawing classes. You're absolutely right about that. You can never have too many of those. So if there's a particular thing you want to see within that topic, please do let me know, because I'm always open to new ideas, as these wonderful students know. Now, Keith, how are you doing, my friend? What have you been working on this week?
Oh yeah, I'm excuse me. Yeah, I'm doing well. I've been working on a lot of similar stuff to the stuff that James was talking about. A lot of gesture drawing, a lot of trying to get the figures and proportions down. The goal being, like, in the initial phase, the initial sketch phase, to make that as accurate as possible, so that when I go and try to do the final touches, there's a lot less adjustments that have to be made, because right now there's a lot of them. When you find out, you're like, oh, I got that wrong, I got this wrong, that doesn't make sense, this is out of proportion, and a lot of that. So going back to a lot of that, just the time that I had this week to try to do that was what I was working on for the most part.
For sure. And you know what? No matter what level you're at, whether you're a beginner, whether you're someone who's more advanced, who's been doing this for like 20 years, you can go back to those fundamentals and get something out of them when you sit down to practice. Because every time you evolve, you're going to start to look at those fundamentals a little bit differently. You're going to understand them in a new way, with a new set of eyes. And it can be a really profound exercise to actually revisit those fundamentals and just experiment around with them and observe yourself and how you utilize them at those higher levels as you progress forward. Because I can tell you, the way that I start out a character with a gesture and with a basic figure now as a more advanced artist is very different to how I started. And it's amazing, because with all of these topics, you might learn them as a whole, obviously, as you move forward from beginner to intermediate to advanced. But what you find later on is that every single one of them has depth to it. And you can continue to squeeze more out of it as time goes on. It's kind of amazing too, because if you think about things like figure drawing and gesture, these are really lessons on bringing your character to life. These are tools, they're techniques that you're able to breathe energy into your characters with. And when your characters look alive on the page, nothing is going to hook the audience in more than that. That's what allows them to instantly connect and stay immersed in the story that you're telling. I mean, as we well know, one of the biggest giveaways of amateur artwork is stiff, rigid, robotic-looking characters. And so these figure drawing exercises that we put all this time into doing, as riveting as they are, these basic figures, they are really the key to breaking out of that and making your character look alive. So Jean Bondar is asking about the guests. So, oh yeah, let me get their names up.
Because it's not
That's a great
because
idea.
everyone's label isn't up. That's right. Their handles.
Let me get that up here. My goodness, where do they keep that these days in the settings?
They've been changing it a lot lately, haven't they?
They
It's,
really
StreamYard.
have.
Yeah.
Let me just check through that here. While I'm doing that, let's move on to Matt. Matt, what have you been working on?
Well, I am currently engrossed in that Dungeons and Dragons challenge we got going on.
Good stuff. That's awesome.
I think. Oh, you're not sharing the screen, but you saw the Necromancer
I'll
from
share.
last time.
Oh, there he is. Cool. Yeah, he's awesome.
Nice.
Look at that.
So now I'm digging in a little deeper. So I gave
That's
myself a little, almost like a turnaround
great.
page. These are super rough. I mean, I was just trying to get some proportion in there somewhere, but now I'm digging into the character a little more. So I get some little character sketches happening.
Oh, awesome. So the Necromancer guy, he was one character that you've done, and then this guy is a different one?
So yes, but they're actually connected because the main character is this dwarf who's a bard, and in the midst of him celebrating in a tavern somewhere, he picks up what he thinks is a flask of alcohol. Turns out it's a soul jar that has the soul of this necromancer. So every time he opens that jar, he gets possessed by the necromancer.
Nice.
If I had a nickel for every time that's happened to me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And super creative as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
I
It's a
think the
bit
challenge
of a
is just
different
one
take.
character. I'm making two, so I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like
Maybe
that symbiote archetype,
a little bit,
right?
a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, it's cool as. So Greg Static Art he says he's noticed that the website changed over. Yeah, it changed over quite a little while ago now. You know what? Drop me an email, Greg, at Clayton Barton at howtodrawcomics.net. Okay, so again, that's Clayton Barton, all one word, at howtodrawcomics.net. Drop me an email and just remind me of this. And what I'll do is I'll send you a special link to join up to the current latest version of the How to Draw Comics Academy at howtodrawcomicsacademy.com. But yeah, since if you're a current member of the original, then you'll be able to just jump over. I'll give you a special coupon that allows you to do that with a beautiful amount of ease. Okay. So yeah, this is looking great, Matt. And I know, just because we've been here many times before in the studio, that you're probably going to get this dude inked by the end.
We'll see.
So yeah, keep at it. You know what I'm loving right now when I look at this is the gestural lines that you're laying down
That's
to
how it all
establish the
starts.
overall composition,
Yeah.
which is exactly what we were talking about. Okay, awesome. And let's take a look at what Rex is working on.
Still the first comic page.
Yeah?
I'm still working on that. So I actually did the chair. The chair looks good.
Oh, you did? Cool. Yeah.
Thank
came out great.
goodness the chair looks
Right?
good.
I know.
Yeah.
It was so hard.
I like the fog effect that you've got on Daydream as well.
Yeah, because you kept saying it was fire, and I was like, it's smoke, it's not fire. So I'm trying to make it look more smoky.
It
Yeah,
does.
for sure.
It does look so much like the Mr. Burns chair from the Simpsons episode.
Yeah, it looks
I
really
have a
good.
chair at Springfield University.
I've not seen it.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I
hysterical.
just did a few highlights and that, but otherwise, that's all I've been up to.
Yeah, that's looking awesome. So
I did try
you
I did try and do the, what do you call it?
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's apparently a character called D&D character, a Jobin, and they're like little mice, and they're like little
Yeah,
fighters. And then I decided to completely warp and destroy them. It
that was
specifically, and it
great.
got yeah. Apparently they're like mice that hang around each other. They're very social ones, and I was like, we're gonna make him antisocial.
That's cool. I like
So yeah,
that.
it
It's a good
depends.
interpretation.
I may get rid. I'm not terribly fussed on it as it stands, but yeah, I might do
So
something different.
well, you've been busy, you know. You haven't just done a little bit of rendering on a comic book page. You've done a full-blown character by the look of it.
Yeah, but I've been struggling. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm getting faster though at it, which I'm
Yeah.
happy about. But it's going to be slow in the beginning when I learn how to do all the backgrounds and stuff.
I mean, you're definitely getting there with the backgrounds. What are you having trouble with exactly?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
is this what trouble with everything looks like?
it's mainly just me needing to learn how three-dimensional objects exist in space.
For
And
sure.
it's not one of my skill sets, so I need to make it one of my skill sets. And naturally, when you're trying to learn anything new, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk more about that tonight, I think. Because I'm really curious to know what you're struggling with exactly when it comes to placing objects in an environment, in space. Like the 3D, it's like putting 3D objects within an environment. What part
I
of that
can't see it.
exactly is difficult?
I can't see it like
Right.
cinemagraphically. I can't see it,
Yeah.
and I
Okay,
don't know
like
what I
inside
don't
your
know what.
mind.
Yeah, but I also don't know what occupies that space as well. It's like, okay, I'm going to put a box here for some unfathomable reason, and then I'm going to draw
Okay.
this roof here because it connects to this, and
Yeah,
I
all
expect
right.
it to go there. So it's just, I don't have a big enough library in my head
Ah, okay. So
of
it's
what
less
it's.
about struggling to draw like a box in an environment, like technically, and it's more coming up with ideas of how to populate that environment, like how to set dress
That's
it, so to
yeah. I
speak.
mean, I still have difficulties with perspective. Not huge difficulties, but difficulties. And yeah, it's just knowing what to put in it. And I don't know what to put in it. I just made this thing out of my brain, so it's a bit
Yeah,
difficult. If you're looking at a reference, fine, because you know where everything goes. But if
yeah,
you're trying to build it, it's a bit more difficult. Especially considering you don't consider stuff like, oh, there's got to be heating, so there's got to be different pipes, there's got to be water pipes, there's got to be all these other pipes. And if the environment doesn't allow for that, or what era it came from, because I went colonial,
yeah, yeah.
roughly.
Colonial.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. This looks like a temple of some kind almost.
And then like a fleshy area.
Yeah, like a fleshy temple.
Fleshy.
But yeah, it looks cool.
Now the buildings
Oh
are kept.
wow.
Those ones are colonial.
Yeah.
I like what you did with the roof, how you adjusted the hatching on the different parts of the roof.
Yeah, it looks cool, doesn't it? I found it off like I ended up getting all these books of all these colonial like old school buildings, and then they had all these different types, and I was like, I like that one, and I just merged.
Wow. That's great.
But yeah, I
Yeah, I mean, I
advise
love
that
the
if you're gonna do
details.
that, get like books on architecture because they have a lot of stuff. It's just, but unfortunately, it's not done in perspective, but it gives you a good idea of like how you want to structure your environment. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Jean Bondart. It says you just dropped a super sticker. I've never had one of those before. So whatever that super sticker is, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You're a very kind human being, and I hope that you're getting some value out of this stream. And we also got Corey Barton joining us in the chat too. What's up, Corey? Yeah, I think everybody is inspired, of course, as always, by the work that you're doing here, Rex. We'll definitely check in on it throughout the studio session. Amazing rendering. And yes, Chuck, we'll definitely do some more lessons on rendering. Absolutely no doubt about it.
I found
Yeah, go
something
ahead.
cool. like a rendering book.
Oh yeah, what
Um,
was it?
Give me a second.
Yeah. Take your time.
It's in my downloads. It's in my downloads because I got it off Internet Archive.
Ah, sweet.
It's called Drawing Realistic Textures in Pencil by J.D. Hilbury.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. It goes right into depth and it takes you along the steps. And I missed a few steps
Yeah.
when I normally draw,
Right.
but it looks fantastic.
So it gave you a little bit of clarity and like
Yeah,
help
it's
make
like when you
clear
highlight.
the
Yeah, when you
steps.
highlight stuff and you've got to like put that edge on it. It's going to be fantastic when I
Oh, cool.
figure out how to do all of it.
So your renderings are going to level up even more then, Rex.
Yes, which is what I
Great.
hope. It's really, really good. I really like the texture he did. It's interesting how he did it too.
For sure.
Really, really interesting.
Cool. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's
I'll
things
get a
you
hold
don't
of it.
consider, and he actually like has things pointing to what he's talking about, and he takes you through it, the step by step. The only thing that annoyed me really was the smudging thing, which I wasn't interested. But
No.
he does metal, he does wood, he does leather, and he does some other texture.
Oh, great.
And
So
that-
different. Yeah.
Well, I'll show you this one because this one was cool.
Yeah, get it up.
There we go. Nope, that needs to be on the top layer. Go. There we go. This one
Oh,
on
yeah.
how you bevel edges and how you color them,
Oh,
shade them.
wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. Here we go. I mean, it's so simple, isn't it? But it has an
And
amazing effect.
but then you've got this one here, which I really like, and yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very clever. He's very, very clever. So whoopsies. No.
Wow. There you go.
Nope.
Isn't that great? I mean, that knowledge is just going to add even more to your rendering arsenal there, Rex. So
Yeah. He also renders bricks, and I like his bricks.
you like the bricks?
Yeah, because
he's
I-
giving you some ideas as to how to render your own?
Yeah, really, really good. Oh, I'll show you this one too. Click on. One day I will learn how to use this computer. It's not like I haven't used it forever. But look at the bricks here. This is a drawing.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But I like what he did with this with the indentations here. How fantastic is that?
Yeah, that's great. Now we just got to convert it to like black and white cross hatching.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard.
No. The values are there.
But yeah, then he's got this smudgy bit which I can do, and then this is great as well because look at the light hitting onto that side. I would have just colored it black. I wouldn't have put some light on this part.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is.
And yeah, that would have created even more contrast, which is definitely what you want with that graphic look that commonly is associated with comic book art. So, yeah, you want to take this and then sort of convert it into a more comic book art style. Then again, if you are drawing within the vein of Bernie Wrightson, you are going to you'll end up developing the sort of subtleties in tone to achieve something like this with hatches.
Not just him, but Riccardo Federici.
Yeah.
I think I told you about him last time. I don't know whether you looked into him, but he does. It's absolutely gorgeous work. He does the line work.
Oh yeah,
I might
yeah. We
find
had him up
for
last
you.
time. The Batman one, right? Batman
Yeah,
guy?
but yeah. I will show you what I mean specifically. Did I put him in here?
Definitely.
Oh, of course I didn't. I put him in my favorite artists one. Hang on.
You never know, Chuck.
Gotta
It
find
might
it.
not. Start now, Chuck, and get that practice in. Get those experience points up. I think that one of the biggest difficulties when it comes to learning comic book art specifically, and I've talked to James at length about this actually, is it obviously involves so many things that you've got to practice independently and master. in order to bring it all together and create something like this, right? Like that. When we look at this image, this beautiful artwork, it's got amazing hatching, obviously, but that's really just the icing on the cake. Underneath all of that, you've got the foundational structure that we talked about earlier with the mannequin model and the figure drawing stuff, and
But
then
in order to know the structure, do you
anatomy.
not have to do realism first? Is that because
I
I'm
don't
wondering
think
that because
so.
this is spectacular. Because
Yeah,
he paints
this
them
is
after
really
he,
amazing.
but that's his drawing. So this is what he does on top of it. So when he paints it, and he does, but that's what he does on top of it, and it looks realistic, but it's still a comic. So I think I can get away with making things look
Oh.
more realistic.
Oh yeah, like you can actually create a comic in whatever style you want. Right? 'Cause it could be like an oil painted comic if you wanted it to be. Now, you're not going to see that as the set standard within the industry. However, the industry is 100% going to change. This will be a big topic if I get into it now, but you know, the latest news that we've heard from Disney, specifically their Marvel movie department, is certainly a sign, a definite sign of what is to come for every aspect of entertainment. So, all of that is to say that it will be a good idea to do your own thing. Pick a style that you like, that you enjoy working in. Something like this, if this is your kind of jam, I mean, that is freaking
But
amazing.
look at it!
Yeah, I mean, that's
I
on another
love this
level.
man. Oh, he doesn't get talked of enough. How often do you hear about him? I always
No,
hear about all the other ones. No, this guy knows where it's at.
He's truly amazing. I mean, that's
He's
just going to be.
spectacular.
But how long did it take to do that? How many years? David
To get
Finch,
to
it
that
took him
point.
5 years to do Skinbreaker. Then the last issue just came out, and that comic ran from like last fall until this past week. You know, that's something like that it's going to take a long time, an incredibly
It will.
long time. But if you have the patience to do it, and you know,
Yeah.
it's its own reward. You know.
Yeah, you know, in the end, I think that really we do art for ourselves a lot of the time. Now, we want other people to like it, for sure, but the truth is that we want to create something that we can be proud within ourselves of creating. And this is why sometimes you might be a professional artist and not feel super fulfilled doing commissions, working on other people's stuff, other people's ideas, because it's like you've got a message, you've got ideas of your own that you want to put out there into the world, and you've chosen comic art, maybe it's music, maybe it's movies, whatever vehicle it is, to put it out there, to communicate it to the world. And so I think that when it comes to anything you create, do it for yourself, and who cares if it takes you an extended period of time to create it in the form that you want it to be presented in. I think that we are going to have to kiss the commercial world goodbye, to be quite frank, and actually start focusing on ourselves more, focusing on building our own audiences and creating a brand for ourselves, you know, having that direct contact, that direct communication with people who are coming to us and appreciating the work that we are doing. I think that's going to be the future, and I feel like it kind of creates a bit more of a personalized experience, honestly, for the audience. And you know, as far as crowdfunding comics goes, or just heck, having a website where you sell your work directly to the audience is probably going to be the go. You know, you can imagine that. You know, I mean, whether it doesn't matter who is publishing this dude, this work is going to sell. And even if it took him 10 years to create let's say 5 books, it doesn't, 2 years on each book. Once they're all done, that can be resold again and again. It can be loved, can be appreciated and cherished for decades to come. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the kind of work that I love, it's, I'm sure there's lots of really awesome modern day work out there. Don't get me wrong. But the work that inspired me to get into drawing comics in the first place, that comes from the 90s, the early 2000s, 80s, 70s. And I still love it. I still read it. It lives on. So art in that sense really is timeless. So if you're ever worried about how long something's going to take, I totally get why James would look at this and be like, whoa, that's going to take a long ass time to create. But guess what? Art originally was supposed to take a long time to create. It always did. You look at the Sistine Chapel, it took a long time to paint.
This is done traditionally. I should make that clear. He doesn't use digital.
Yeah. I mean, I would be very interested to know how long this actually took.
I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the great monuments and structures that were built throughout history. Look at the Egyptian pyramids, for example. Some of these temples. I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and it showed this temple that was an entire structure that you could walk in and everything. Had these amazing sculptures and statues inside, but it was carved into solid stone. If you take the Grand Canyon, for example, it was carved into the inside of a terrain that was made of rock. And they somehow did this. I don't know how, but I got to imagine it probably took multiple generations of people to finish. But somebody had a vision. And thousands of years later, it's still standing there. So that's why art deserves respect that it's earned.
Absolutely.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall while project like that was being made during the the round table meeting where they're talking about the status of the project. They're like, all right, so how's the project coming along? Listen, man, this is taking forever. Is there something we can do to maybe could we paint it? Could we paint it? Do we have to carve it so that it looks like it grew out of there? It's like, no, I demand that it's carved in there because that's going to look cool. It's like, all right, we'll get some more guys. This will
You
take
might
a while,
need to
then.
pay it a bit more.
I'm gonna have to
Starving
talk
artist.
I'm gonna have to talk to the union guys on this one. We got to get more teams out here.
Yeah, for sure.
I did just find some Riccardo Federici sketching before he
Nice.
stopped rendering.
Cool.
He does it it's really basic, and it's in perspective, and everything is in the right place essentially.
Oh, great.
It's very, very basic. I don't really, hang on, I think, what is it? It's Windows Shift S, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
To screenshot something.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know.
I was
there
just on
you go.
YouTube. He's got a YouTube.
Yeah,
But yeah,
beautiful.
that's
Look
what
at
he
that.
starts with. And this is how it ends up. Let me just screenshot it again.
That's really
He
great.
is so based. He's so cool.
Yeah, he's good at what he does, isn't he?
I'm just so
I mean,
fangirl.
that's how you want it. It's good to know what the expectations are in those early stages.
But it's interesting, right? He apparently says he knows what the colors are going to be in his head before he does it, so he can already do that. But I'm like, how did you get that though? Then you got that.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
keep
once you've
working
got
at
that first stage,
Yeah.
it becomes, that's
Yeah,
the
just-
roadmap right there.
Draw the rest of the owl.
You know how, Rex. I mean, you do this all the time.
I do the details fine. But
Yeah.
the perspective, I mean, getting everything lined up proper,
Yeah, this part is,
difficult.
it's,
I mean, I don't know how to put somebody's
Yeah.
bum in the air like that.
yeah, you just got to rejig it until it looks right.
I've got to draw more dead bodies. I think that's what
Yeah.
I'm learning from this.
That's right. That's right. I don't know where you're going to find reference for that, but
I
you
got
know.
some. No,
I
look,
got that.
Oh.
yeah. That
I got
sounds
that
a lot
same problem.
creepier.
There's some pages in my comic coming up where I need to draw some dead bodies, and I have to make sure that they don't look weird.
Yeah, right.
They're deceptively hard to draw.
Well, have fun with that. I mean, there's like you don't actually have to find real ones on the internet if you don't want to. I don't even know if you can, but I got to tell you, I've been watching a lot of been watching that old TV show Bones recently. You guys ever watch that?
There's
Yeah,
a
heard
It
of that,
is, man, it is so gross, that show, actually. At least some aspects of it. But the point is that you can find plenty of references for all types of stuff in movies, you know, that do it pretty darn convincingly without you having to, you know, to go on some website that's just going to give you PTSD. Alrighty. So let's take a look at what. Do you want to show us what you're working on, Keith? Would you like to give
sure.
us a look, or are you? You don't have to, but
no, of
I'm
course.
curious.
Of course, I can show you guys what I'm working
Yeah,
on.
this is amazing stuff, Rex. Damn,
Yeah, I know.
you've got me inspired.
Look at it. Just look at it. It's so beautiful. But he keeps the energy and the roundness. Anyway, no, I'm just going to
Yeah.
stop fangirling.
That's good. It's really good.
It's amazing, but look at the
Alright.
color too. I think that's what I was trying to get with my colors, where it was just going to be like one flat color. Then I just add that little, you know, that red,
Oh yeah,
which is
For
nice.
sure.
It's so pretty.
for sure. I mean, that's the kind of colors you want for a horror-themed comic, anyway.
Yeah, apparently they're calling him the king of horror, and I was like, I thought that was Bernie.
Well, you know, new kings can come along and take the crown. And I got to say, what I was just seeing
gonna say, I
there,
thought
he's
that-
given Bernie a run for his money.
I was gonna say, I thought
Yeah.
that was Junji Ito.
You thought that was what?
I thought that was Junji Ito
Oh, yeah, no, that's different. That's manga.
manga. Yep.
Doesn't count.
So, oh, it doesn't
It's
count.
its own category.
Just doesn't count.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I know who you're talking about. Is that the Spiral artist?
The spiral guy.
Yeah, I mean, that is some disturbing stuff
pretty,
too.
pretty
So
horrifying stuff.
we're going to have to put them all head to head, and you know, if Bernie was still here, he could do that. But you know, at least those that are still living, we can make a competition for them and see who comes out on top, huh? All right. So Keith, this is what you've been working on.
This is what I'm working on.
Beautiful
Just
three-quarter portrait shot of a lady, by the look
yeah,
of it.
Nice.
absolutely. Yeah, this is just what I put together, like as we've been talking for the past like half hour or something, just doing some doodling, scheduling this, doing this out.
nice.
Just like the rough, trying to get like the proportions down, and then just go right into doing some detailing and doing stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of these in like the rough sketches portion of like the saved documents I've got on Clip Studio. Just doing a lot of practice of that, just trying to get like the gestural head correct, and then being able to go right into more of the detailed aspect of it, trying to make sure that workflow is worked out. So putting together something like this. And what I've also been working on, which I was working on last time, was doing some more details on this page. You can see I've added some detail to this panel down here. We've added some street lights. I've adjusted the width of that road a little bit. I've added the big street sign up there. Just working on where I'm placing things, just trying to get that sorted out before I delve into the more serious details of it. But I think the top panel's really starting to take shape with some of the placement of the buildings, and just trying to make sure they look properly decayed, because I'm trying to make sure to establish that this is a city that is in a state of ill repair, and I want that to really show from the first panel. But what I was doing yesterday, and this is fun, I put together this over here, and obviously we've seen this character before, but she's in a new pose now, and it was super fun because what I'm going to do is she's in this pose because she's being strangled by a razor wire.
Oh wow.
And I got another layer with the razors as I'm going to work those in. But
Oh, crikey. Wow, look at that. Yeah,
But,
that doesn't look fun at all.
It
No.
doesn't look fun at all, but I had the
Some
idea
Silent
because I'm
Hill
like,
stuff right there.
it's some Silent Hill stuff, but I thought to myself, like,
Yeah.
well, that'd be but when I got the idea, I'm like, well, that's a cover if I've ever seen one, like that kind of thing like that. And I think it's going to come together really well, but I've been struggling a little bit on this one as I'm putting it together because her left hand up here is looking weird to me.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
It's wonky. It's because it's that weird angle where it's like out like this. And
Yeah.
trying to capture that, but
I think what you're going to be looking at there is the interior of her hand.
I'm
So
probably
it's
showing
going to
too
be
much of the backside.
it's going to be like this,
Yeah.
right? Like with the palm facing you.
Probably now that I think about it, yeah, but
Just because it'd be hard. Yeah. I mean, you could do it like that, couldn't you?
I could definitely do it like that. The idea came from the statue of Laocoon. I don't know if
Oh, which
anyone's
one?
ever seen that. It's a statue in Rome from a guy from the Aeneid, Laocoon and his sons, where Laocoon is being strangled by serpents.
Oh,
And I
right.
was like, well, I can adapt that idea. But this
Yeah,
is the
that's
pose
cool.
of the statue, and I'm like, oh, that's a fun, nice cut.
Yeah,
That'll look
yeah.
really
No,
cool.
that's great.
But just looking at something like this, what do you have to say comment-wise as far as,
Yeah,
proportions and anatomy? Because I'm very interested in that.
for sure. Zoom out a little bit and I'll take a screenshot.
Hold on a minute. Let me just perfectly get that right there.
Get it all in there, and I'll make this screen a bit bigger for me. Cool. I'll just quickly grab that, and I'll do a little draw over for you.
Mm.
While we're here. Okay. So, oh, I actually forgot about the lessons we were doing in the last studio sessions with the. Yeah, we were doing some fun stuff. Was it the last studio session when we were doing the balls with the muscles?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
different shapes? That was fun. Yeah, I've got to remember to turn that into a proper lesson, actually. So that's a great exercise.
Definitely check
Okay.
out that book as well if you want to like add some hyper rendering in it.
Oh, yeah,
You can do it.
absolutely, I will. It probably covers some really great topics.
But yeah, for this piece and for a couple of other rough sketches I've been doing over the course of this week anyway, I've been looking at some J. Scott Gamble stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Seeing up like
Who?
how he would put things together.
Who?
J.
Scott
Scott
Campbell.
Campbell.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, J. Scott Campbell's great, especially for the sort of style that you're going for, because it is a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
And, it's just got that slick, really stylized look to it.
And I do love that style. It's a style I'm definitely trying to emulate.
Yeah. All right, let me go ahead here, and I'm going to do a little bit of a draw over for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's already up there. Cool. That's mine, not yours, right? There. Okay. So, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Now, there's definitely a few things here that we can adjust. And, it's all, I would say there's two main things here that we're taking a look at. Maybe three, if you want to add this one as an addition as well. But it's mainly proportions, and the proportions may look off because of some of the foreshortening you've attempted to do. It's also functionality, okay, so the limitations of the human body and how we make it look like the pose feels natural. even though this is a pose where, you know, she's certainly probably struggling against keeping a natural pose, considering what's going on. And then finally, one thing that I'm going to just add in here is thinking about the overall perspective of the character, which, you know, that's going to be more advanced. That's something that's actually tough to pull off, even for me, as you'll see when I go to show you. But for now, just let me correct what you've got here, and then we'll do another like overall compositional redraw, just to give you something else to consider. It's not to say you have to redraw if you don't want it, if you can't be bothered, but you know, I like to give you options, Keith, and certainly don't be discouraged by any of this. This is really just to show you how you can, you know, edit the pose and adjust it in different ways. And what I would be interested in knowing, I'll save this for the compositional one, but just in terms of when it comes to laying down a pose, how many times are you adjusting it as you draw? Are you sticking with the first thing that you come up with, even the second thing, and then just going over the top of that? Or are you rejigging different parts of the pose multiple times over the course of bringing it together as a completed figure? Because I'll tell you the truth, as you'll see when I go to redraw this from a different angle, it's definitely the case sometimes where you're going to be redrawing that pose heaps. Like you might redraw a leg 5 times before you're really happy with it. And so the reason I'm saying that is because it is important to have the right state of mind going into this, so you can balance your expectations and know that you don't need to get it right the first time around, that you do have plenty of chances to mess up. You've kind of got like a never-ending amount of lives when it comes to the comic art game. So the only question is, are you patient enough to go back and readjust? But before you can even do that, you've got to be able to develop your eye to a point where you can actually recognize that something needs to be adjusted. So with all of that said, let's take a look here at her proportions. So this is her outstretched leg right here. And it's a really good reference point for us because of that fact that it's outstretched. So what that means is we're getting a nice sort of flattened out, direct look at the measurement of her leg when it's in an outstretched state. So we can draw that in there like so. And I'm going to break it down into a very basic form here, just so that we can simplify it, take all the complication out of it, and really look at it for what it is on a base level. And on a base level, what we're after is just the foundational form and the proportions. Okay, and there might be a little bit of a bend there, ever so slightly, but that's what we're dealing with in terms of her leg. Okay, and this is good. This is giving us the outstretched length. And it doesn't really matter what you use as a reference point. You can use the head, you can use another part of the body that you feel is going to be a good guide, but the reason I've chosen the leg in this particular instance is because the leg on the other side is actually not the same length. It actually appears to be different, right? And the main thing that appears to be different is in fact the length of her upper leg. The reason it feels different is because you've attempted to foreshorten it. You know, that's obvious to me, right?
Yep.
But because the knee hasn't increased in size enough and that the shape hasn't quite been modified in a way to indicate that the leg is coming as forward as we need it to come for that length to feel like it's actually resulting in a foreshortened leg. We are instead just getting a upper leg that looks too small. So here's how we're going to fix that. If the leg is going to be this length, based upon the perspective that we're looking at it from, so not the objective length. We know that objectively it's going to be this. It's going to be this length, but in our perspective, subjectively, it's going to be this length. Okay, and if that's the case, given its size objectively, well then what we need to do is we simply need to scale up this knee. Okay, because if we want it to come out to, if we want the length to be this much, right? We don't want it to go really any further than that. Then that knee needs to be increased in size. So it's got to scale up, because what it's really indicating to us, if the length of that upper leg is shortened to this degree, then that's telling us that, well, the leg is actually coming forward quite a lot toward us, because, let's say that this is our head. We're looking at the leg from above. Oh, this is at the top of our head here, right? This is our shoulders. We've got our head there. We've got our nose. It looks a bit like a beak. Okay, and this is the leg we're looking at, right? So we'll say this is the pelvis, okay? And look, we could have the leg coming out in this direction, right? This is the upper leg coming out in that direction. And then it's coming out down here in this direction. Right, that's another placement for it, and it might be, we might have another representation of it coming out here as well. So it could be, anyone that's like just coming into this later is going to be like, what the hell is Clayton drawing right now? But this is our field of view right now. Okay. So let me zoom in on that. So if we take a look at our field of view here, and we notice this example of the leg when it's placed in this position, we can see that we're actually looking at, we're actually seeing quite a decent amount of the length of that leg. So we'd be seeing about, look, I'm going to make my line quite thick there. We're seeing about that much of its length, right, based on our perspective. But then, if we look at this leg that's directly, in front of us, coming straight toward us, and we look at how much of that, how much of this side of the leg we can actually see, what length is there, well, that becomes a heck of a lot shorter. I mean, we're going to be seeing, a majority of what we're going to be seeing is going to be the knee there. Okay, so that's the only amount that we're seeing. So that's pretty complicated. Now over here, again, we're seeing about this much of that leg. Okay, so this line here that I'm laying down, that's the length. That's this length here that we're seeing. But here's the trick. As the leg comes forward and the knee is coming toward us, it's going to increase in size, okay, because it's closer, right? So you can see how this knee is further away from our head than this knee here. And so the knee that's closer is actually going to increase in size, whereas the further away that knee gets, the smaller it's going to appear to us. All right, so that's a whole bunch of like really complicated you know, brainy, thinky stuff to consider. But what that translates to is the reasoning that I'm trying to give you behind why this knee is now larger and what it's actually going to do for us. So now, once we figured out how the scale of that knee, what we need to do is then shape the leg correctly. And the way that we shape it correctly is, well, we need to basically understand what the simplistic interpretation of the leg is going to be from those, you know, early figure drawings and basic construction lessons that we go through. And really, I broke it down here. This is about as simple as you can get. And so now we're taking that shape and we're foreshortening it. Okay, keeping in mind what I just talked about. And you can see that the shape itself has actually been adjusted there, but then we can also add in these cross contours around the leg in order to kind of make sure that we're hammering home, at least to us as we're working on it, the form and what's happening to it as it comes toward us. And then, of course, we've got this lower leg. Now, this lower leg is going to be stretched out here since it's hanging just straight down. But, you know, it's also closer, so it will be larger than the one over here. And so you can get away with something that probably is going to be closer to the length you've already got for it, Now, I like to add in these cross contours as I go, just because they help me to figure out, of course, what angle I'm looking at the leg on, but also if I can visualize the foreshortening, which these cross contours allow me to do, as I'm drawing out the leg, then I can sort of determine what the length needs to be. I can make a good guesstimation based on that. And this is why it's important to, as you're drawing, always try to think about your figures in terms of three-dimensional form and all the parts that make them up. So this shoe, for example, that's a direct side view representation of the shoe.
Yeah.
That's not really the angle that we've got the leg on here. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to place that shoe on an angle that matches the angle of the leg. We're going to end up with something like that. Okay, so then you might be wondering, well, okay, this is all good, Clayton, but then how do I convert this to an actual finished leg? How do I take these basic shapes here and make them into a finished drawing? And the good news is that when it comes to female characters, at least, that sort of becomes a walk in the park. Now, you still have to do a little bit of sculpting here when it comes to the anatomy. So, you know, her leg that we've laid in, we're going to now refine that a little bit more. We're going to obviously sculpt out a little bit more of a knee than what was there present before. We're going to be considering a little bit more of the anatomy, of course. But for the most part, because we were fairly particular with the shape as we formed it, most of the hard work is done for us. You know, knees can be a little bit tricky. Hopefully you've got some basic knee anatomy understanding. But, you know, you usually got this tendon here that connects the kneecap to the bottom of the leg. And then once that's sorted, we can join that onto the shin area. And now I'm getting really confused as to what I'm looking at, but we run that down into this lower region. where we're going to join it onto the foot. And so when all is said and done and you take away that construction, what you're left with is this sort of form, and you can even turn off that underlying structure now and work on this leg area independently. But that is the workflow. You know, me and James have been talking about this a lot, the workflow of what to go through when it comes to actually constructing a comic book illustration. So I wanted to make sure that I went over that with you, James, and really explain this in regards to the leg. Now, we can apply some of these same lessons here to, of course, the arm, which is another sort of area here that needs a little bit of work. So let's take a look at the rest of the structure of the body, right? We're going to have the hips. And I'm going to do some very quick resizing on some of this and just adjusting the proportions ever so slightly. We're then going to come up here and we're going to take a look at the rib cage. So we'll draw that in, and I'm mostly, you can see that I'm placing this basically where you've already got the positioning of the chest. I'm just really redrawing it in there to give myself some structure to work on top of. And this is a great way to just check that everything is lining up. Now, as you'll see when I reconstruct this pose in a slightly different composition, I'm going to go ahead and likely adjust these proportions a little bit. And I know that this stuff, it's kind of like it makes sense when you're watching it, and I'm going through the process of sort of showing you how it's done, and then, you know, you might go away and you'll try to apply some of it to paper, and you'll feel like it should work now that it's been explained to you, but then you'll still run into problems. So it just takes practice and time to get yourself familiar with it. And that might seem like a bit of a cop-out, but everything you learn, the real point at which the learning happens is when you try it and something works. It clicks and then it works and you finally get it. That can take time at different speeds for everybody. So now we've got the arm, okay? And we are considering anatomy here when it comes to the functionality of the body. We know that this arm needs to connect to the chest and the shoulder in a particular way, in a mechanical way. I'm also asking myself here, is this upper arm going back? It looks like it based on the way that you've got those stripes there. So it's going to be a little bit foreshortened. A little bit foreshortened away from us. And I'm assuming, well, let's see here. It looks like the arm is then coming forward toward us. So we have to ask ourselves, you know, is it going to be possible without breaking the arm to actually twist the wrist into that position? And the likely answer is no. I mean, I guess you could. I guess you could, but you're probably going to be looking at probably be looking at more of a representation of the hand like this, I would say. Where this will be you'll be looking at slightly the underside of this hand, as opposed to seeing at the top of the thumb. So when I'm doing these drawovers, at least when I'm going over the direct direct image that you've come up with, I like to keep to the idea that you initially had. And And so we've tried to preserve that with a minimal change. Now I'm thinking that we might just say that this upper arm is actually coming forward a little bit, because I think pulling it back too much is actually going to make it look broken.
Mm.
And so that's looking better. That's looking a little bit more functional.
Mm.
And then what we're going to do is take this arm and same kind of deal. Look at the way in which I'm connecting those shoulders into the arm. We're coming down here, and this arm is generally okay. I would say that there's a minimal amount of changes that really need to be done there. Understanding what's happening underneath those clothes is super key, however.
Yeah, that was how I started it, like with just trying to get the mannequin model to look
Yeah.
right, and then I put clothes on her. So this version kind of is not the best one to do a draw over on, just for the raw mannequin, but I
Oh,
can
no,
definitely
that's
see
okay.
what's happening here.
Yeah, for sure. And, hopefully you've still got the foundations there to take another look at. I'd also just, bring down this foot a little more. Okay. And then, of course, we've got her head there. But that, for the most part, takes care of the underlying mannequin model. And then it is just a matter of laying the clothes over the top. All right, I'm not going to worry about doing that for you right now, though, because that'll be like a bit outside the scope of what I want to show you.
Yeah.
It'll turn into a clothing lesson then. But now I want to talk about, well, with all of that said, what can we do to actually breathe some more life and impact into this idea overall? It's a really good start and it's a good concept, but how can we push it now? Okay, because you can see that it's super dynamic. You've got legs coming toward us, arms coming toward us, the nice twist in the body, and yet it still feels like there's something a little bit missing. And one thing that I'm going to tell you is the way that we get the most amount of movement out of the body, the way that we make it look the most alive, is through the torso. Okay? What we want to do is push the twist on the torso even more. Okay? Between the chest and between the hips, and of course the head as well. Right? Now, one great way to immediately add a little bit more dynamism to the character is by rotating the head in the opposite direction of the chest. So if she's facing this way instead, you can see how that suddenly it just makes it feel more natural. Like there's a little bit more energy there. And it makes her look less stiff, less like she has a rod through her back, aligning everything to the one axis. So let me show you how I would take this awesome idea that you've come up with out of your head and enhance it even further. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw out her head. And I'm going to have it looking down like this. Okay, so we are going to mix up the angle on all three axes for each one of these forms. All right? Let me explain what I mean by that. So the chest now, instead of facing down, it's going to be facing up. Instead of facing to the left, it's going to be facing to the right. Here's how it's going to look. Now, I'm also going to place the camera a little lower so that we're looking up at her, just to make it look even more epic.
Mm.
So now check out the chest, right? Opposite tilt as well. Now this is going to look a lot like your chest, but the main thing that's changed is the head and its positioning. And we're going to place the center line of the chest right about here. So you can see it's angled away from us, again, like in your original. But here's the trick. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to, now you'll notice that I'm adding in some cross contours into the torso here, just to give me an idea as to what, like how much of a curve we're seeing on the midsection there. And that's going to help me to determine how much is this going to be foreshortened, how much larger should I scale it up to enhance that foreshortening. And then I'm going to add in the leg holes. Now, as I do that, I'm going to twist the pelvis around. So now it's rotating toward us. Once more, in the opposite direction to the chest. So this is going to be the top of the pelvis. And pull those leg holes up a little bit more. Now, even constructing it this way, I don't know, I'm having a little bit of a good run here, but usually what I find is that I end up having to rejig this around a fair bit. Especially when it's a piece that I care about, I just end up making way more mistakes when I'm overthinking it. Now I'm going to give all of you guys a nice little interesting trick later on. If you're an overthinker, I discovered something recently.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-blowing and probably not the healthiest thing to do, but it worked for me. And it's specifically for overthinkers, so people who second-guess themselves a lot. Now, sometimes you do need to overthink things, so, there's that. Sweet, so now we've got a really nice amount of foreshortening on the overall torso. You can see that it's getting larger toward the bottom of the pelvis. And we're in fact going to pull that chest up higher, like so. And we can add in, of course, the breasts. That'll be up there somewhere. All right, and I'm adding those in just because I want to make sure that we're able to see how they're sitting on the chest as it's pushed up away from us like that.
Mm.
And then what we're going to do is, now we got to add in the legs. And so this leg now is going to be more toward us, so it's going to be even more foreshortened. Which means I'm going to scale the heck up. I'm going to scale the knee. I'm going to scale the heck out of the knee here. And it's going to look a little bit like this. It's going to look a little crazy, actually, right? Because it is so foreshortened. And so when something's this foreshortened, look, it's going to look weird. Super foreshortened forms look weird. You can't necessarily pretty them up into something that looks normal, that looks like a normal leg. And then once we've got that upper leg sorted, what I'm doing is I'm just looking at this same basic form for the leg at a different angle. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to pull that leg back. Now we need to make sure the energy is there, right? So I'm getting real gestural on this lower leg, and I'm going to pull it back to about there. And I've got a little bit of an idea of what I'm going to go for with the foot, but that's how it starts. And now that I've got that idea happening, I can construct the rest of the leg with that guide in mind. And the thing is, when you've got a super exaggerated foreshortening applied to a form such as this, where it's really being pulled back in space, what you're going to find is you get a lot of bends and a lot of curves happening within it. Okay? Now you're also going to probably need to make some adjustments along the way. So you can see there that I'm now taking that inner calf up because it just didn't look right to me. All right, so you've got to be able to make those judgment calls, and that's probably the hardest part about this whole thing, is trying to figure out what needs to be adjusted, being able to catch what needs to be adjusted. Now here, it bears keeping in mind that we are looking, for the most part, at the top of this lower leg. Okay, so we're looking down at it, and we're looking down at it in the same way we'd be looking down at a cylinder, essentially. And so that overall, that's not looking right to me. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and erase that. So I'm going to demonstrate to you right now the process of actually going back to the drawing board here and having another crack at it. And I might mix up my approach this time. And try something else, just to see if I have better luck with this approach. Again, that still looks super weird, so what I'm going to do is try stretching out this leg a little more. So with a really dynamic pose like this, it's going to be hard to visualize it sometimes, and you may have to just start drawing and making mistakes and, you know, fluffing it up until it works out the way that you want it to, until you strike gold, so to speak, which is what I do quite a lot, in fact. I just kind of keep on working it, and sometimes I'll be working it for a while and I might still not get it right. And it's at those points I'll go back and I'll take a little break, and I'll revisit it later on once my brain has had time to process everything that's going on with it.
Time to ponder it a little bit, yeah.
Exactly. And your brain will tend to do that. It just sometimes needs a little bit of space to think.
Right.
And so this is probably the most daunting aspect of drawing for some people who are trying to learn this stuff, because they do want that method that's going to work out for them, like right off the bat. They want that special thing, that secret magical pill that's going to allow them to draw magic onto the page every single time.
They want that drawing Ozempic. That's what they want.
Exactly.
Instant gratification.
Exactly. But, you know, it unfortunately does not happen that way, you know?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. And let me see here.
And remember,
I might even
reference
just
is your
redraw
friend.
that whole leg altogether. So you can see here that now that we're at this point, I am getting the opportunity now to really show you, hey, you know, it's easy to mess up these drawings sometimes, and you just got to go back and redo them and experiment, try to figure it out. So, you know, and I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm actually struggling now. So, you know, this is how I work it out. This is the problem-solving technique that I use. That one's feeling a little bit better. Let's see how we go with that. So you can see here, I'm keeping it really rough now. I'm not putting as much structure into it. And typically I find that that's really the antidote for overcoming certain stumbling blocks. is getting a little loose, getting a little messy with it, getting the full image down a little bit more. So you'll notice that I'm actually drawing in another leg now before I've finished the one that I was working on. And check it out, I'm really expanding the length on that one because, of course, we're foreshortening her body, right? And so she's going to get larger toward the bottom as her figure gets closer to us. All right, there we have it. So that's actually feeling really nice for me, at least on a gestural level. So now if we can actually go in there and clean it up a little bit, refine some of those forms, well, then that'll really make my day.
Just I was thinking while you were explaining, the foreshortening aspect of it, I can say that with the daily gesture drawing, you can see that happen in reality in the photograph, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm not just playing head games with myself, thinking, no, that can't be. This is way too wonky looking, but that's what's on the page. That's what's in the photograph. So my job is to capture that gesture, and it will push you to start to do more of that foreshortening, because you're actually having to foreshorten what you see and capture that data. So it's I've benefited just from that too. And then if I'm going to do a different pose, to change something up rather, that's been a big benefit to me.
Oh, big time.
Daily gesture drawings.
Big time. It's a total game changer to do those.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that's going to get you as comfortable with the human body as daily gesture drawings. They'll help you to get figures jotted down onto the page pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
Now, some people say, it becomes a bit redundant after a while, but I've always found them to be excellent ways to just warm up your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I know for certain they get that muscle memory happening when it comes to drawing. So certainly worthwhile, making time for those. They don't take long.
No.
Think about if you dedicate 15 minutes to 30-second figure drawings, you're going to get like 30 poses out of that 15-minute drawing session. That's a heck of a lot of poses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only gotten like half a pose done in that amount of time. So, they certainly help you out in a big way. So what you're seeing right now is me going through a sculpting process, essentially, where I'm taking those larger gestural shapes and I'm now refining them into something that looks a little bit tighter, okay? Something that is a more clarified version of the basic building block anatomy that I'm using to establish this female character. Now, obviously there's a certain amount of stylization that's going on here. That's what we're drawing, is stylized characters. So the anatomy is inevitably going to potentially be tweaked later on and adjusted. But for the most part, these shapes I'm actually quite happy with. Once we've got the legs done, I may as well go ahead and actually fill in the arms. So we're going to bring those up. All right, there's our shoulder there, Keith, and then we're going to add in the upper arm. We're going to have that come forward a little bit. And then we're going to draw in the forearm, which is going to look a little bit like that. All right, now I'm not going to get too into drawing hands here. We'll be here all day watching me struggle with those. So I won't put you all through that for now. But we've got the arm drawn in there. Okay, so you can see there that you know, you can even, if you were very observant just then, you'll notice that I kept it gestural and then I actually went back and I sculpted it out even more. All right, so that's the process. If you're feeling a little bit, you know, like congested creatively, like it's just not happening, then I would suggest get looser. Okay, get looser, get the spirit down of what it is you're trying to draw, and you know, stop trying to get it perfect. I know that is that is way easier said than done, but you got to do everything you can to try and get into that mode, because that's where creativity is going to form best. All right, just let me double check that we've got no one waiting in the in the little panel area there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to add in this last arm, and then we'll have a little bit of a recap, and we'll think about it. And if there's any questions as well that those of you in the chat have left, I'll try to answer those as best I can too. All right, so this arm is going to be coming forward, and look, why don't we go ahead and push the foreshortening on this arm a little bit more. So why don't we go ahead and we'll say that the fist is going to be right about here. We'll like really bring it forward there. Okay, what do you notice? You notice that that hand has now been brought up in size. It's really scaled up now. Yeah, and look at how much more impactful that feels. Like it really does feel like that arm is coming forward toward us out of the page.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by just pushing the pose, not just in terms of the actual positioning of the pose, like where the arms and the legs are sitting, but the actual foreshortening as well of the body overall. So not just even as of the individual parts that make it up, but you can see here that this is going to be a much more impactful cover here, Keith, because we're now looking up at her. She's like a goddess who's going to be fighting off this barbed wire. So it's actually really kind of cool. All right. Hopefully that helps you out, Keith. What do you reckon?
Oh no, this was great. This was
It's good.
all kinds of stuff I was looking for.
You got your own custom-made lesson right there. So you'll be able to go back over that and re-watch it, because a lot of those areas that I mentioned, Keith, they're all aspects of your character drawings that you can hone in on now and actually practice, like individually. So do a few of these poses, keeping in mind what I've just talked about, and that'll really help you to integrate those lessons, okay?
Oh yeah.
So definitely utilize it. Do it multiple times over. Rewatch this.
100%.
Okay, let's see.
Thank you.
Is there any comments here? Hey, what's up, Art of Roy? Good to see you. It's a very dynamic cover concept. Keith he's definitely thinking outside the box there, and really trying to push himself, which is just always great to see. Matt says, I have a lot more respect for erasing now. I used to think it was a sign of failure, but I think it shows you want to fight through the mistakes to the end and make a good drawing. Yeah, I always say, fail forward, fail forward. That's the only way I know how to get an artwork looking the way that I want, because I'm not, like, my brain doesn't fully form images in the first place, so I can't like treat it like a photocopier. It's really a development process that you're going to be undertaking. At least it is for me. Like, I've watched Jim Lee work, and he seems to have. I mean, I've watched Kim Jong-ji work as well, and look, these people seem to have this ability to just photocopy and project something down onto the page in its perfect form right off the bat. I can't do that personally, and I know that actually there's a lot of professional artists who, you know, they mess up entire panels and have to redo them. Like, as frustrating as it is, they end up redoing it, and it's the way it goes sometimes. I think that sometimes it's just the brain's way of working out what the right decision needs to be. You know, sometimes you've got to have the patience to get through the fumbles and the mistakes, figure out the wrong ways to do things before you find the path forward. And so I think erasing is a tool that is there for a reason, and that you should utilize it as such and use it to find the perfect form of your artwork. And I would say that you run more of a risk of being a mediocre subpar artist if you don't do that. Because what does it mean? It means you're just going to be settling on the first thing you lay down onto the page. And the first thing you might lay down onto the page is just the initial iteration. Like, it's like the suckiest version of what that artwork is going to be. And if you just leave it at that stage and you don't really, like, erasing is just development, right? If you feel the need to erase, that's your brain literally telling you, hey, something's not right here. This needs to be adjusted. So listen to that voice and have the patience and the dedication, the respect for your art to actually go through and do what it takes to get it correct. That's just my take. There are definitely some people out there that would totally agree and say, hey, if you have to erase, you're failing. Draw with a pen. But I don't know. I beg to differ personally. We have, hey, what's up, Shelby, American Discord in the chat. Absolutely amazing, amazing artist. One of my favorite inspirations for sure. Comes from the era of Mark Silvestri and all those other wonderful artists. We have Tank Ferret. What's up, Tank Ferret? Good to see you here. Reading Light Studios and Create Now, Sleep Later. Good to see you here, my friend. And Demon says, failing is just learning until you get it right. That's 100% it. 100% it. We have to fail. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. If you're never failing, you're probably at a stage in your journey where you're just not seeing the areas that have an opportunity to improve. So definitely consider that as a sign that you may need to look deeper and proactively find areas of your art to adjust and improve. Unless you're like some kind of like prodigy who is just born with a God-given talent that doesn't need to be developed in any way. All right, so that is my lesson for you, Keith, and certainly something that everybody can take away there. I'm gonna take this away and look at what you've been working on here. It looks like you've already made some adjustments, Keith.
Oh yeah, I was drawing that all along with you as you were putting that together, and I'm trying to put like some more touches on it and try to push it a little bit because there's so much to work with there. And I think
Look at you applying it and putting it right into action. That's what it's about.
Like obviously there's a lot of redrawing that needs to be done for this stage to get it to where it was, but that's okay. That just means it'll be twice as good.
It just means it'll be twice as good. And I think that, you know, I understand how getting this kind of feedback can be discouraging sometimes, because you've been at it for a while and you've been practicing, you've been putting in those hours to get good. And so you have this expectation of yourself to be able to pull your artwork off to a certain degree of quality. And then when you find that you're not able to do that, in reality, it can be a bit of a punch to the gut. Now, don't take it too hard, right? Don't be too hard on yourself when it comes to this stuff. I think that you got to let that feeling go and look at the opposite side of that coin and realize, oh damn, wow, there's an even higher level to this that I can now take my artwork to, and that's exciting. That's cool. It's kind of like a never-ending video game. There's just going to be, you don't want it to end, really. Of course, at a certain point, you want to be able to draw the stuff that you want to draw in a really cool and interesting way. But, you know, and you will, for sure. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But I think that tethering your expectations and being okay with your work not being the quality that you'd like it to be, and not, you know, being okay with making mistakes is something that is going to need to happen for you to actually keep moving forward. Failure shouldn't be something that ever stops you, put it that way.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Right? I mean, you hear business guys talk about this stuff a lot. They say you can't be afraid of failure, otherwise you're not going to make it at all. So, yeah, fail. Hell yeah, embrace it. If you're failing, you're progressing. You're actually taking action.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm here.
For sure, for sure.
That's right.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Great stuff. Good stuff, Tank Ferret. All right. I'm going to let you keep working on that, Keith. And we're going to jump over to James. How are you doing with this one, James?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Whoa. Might help if I kind of show the whole thing, right? There we go.
Yeah. I can see you're definitely working on refining that anatomy of yours.
Yeah, so, you know, I started off with the underdrawing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just got the, you know, the mannequin model in there. And I spent a lot of time with the legs because it was just, you know, I wasn't getting what I wanted out of it, you know. But I thought, okay, sort of a crouched, sort of like post swing, sort of, or wind up for the punch, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like straight out of, like, you know, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, where you're gonna pull it back and draw. So this is like the front end of the punch. It's not the follow through. The follow through would be doing all the way through, right? But this is like the wind up to the punch. So this is I'm kind of working on Robin. So this is going to be a Robin drawing.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, just laying in the anatomy on top. Let me do that. You know, just messing around with that, and
yeah, good. And have you got your references there?
I do. Yeah, I've got, just for the costuming, because I'm looking at like the Chuck Dixon run of Robin. I guess the Tim Lim version of Robin. It's like in the late 80s. So he's not wearing tights anymore. He's got like green pants and, you know, blue boots and all that stuff. So little different costuming. But and then the next thing will be doing the costume on top. I already kind of did it a little bit with the mask. Just to get in there, you know. Got it. So yeah, just kind of working that out, you know.
Okay, cool.
But earlier this week, this is what I did. This Absolute Batman. And
Superman?
Absolute Superman, yeah.
Superman.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Absolute Superman,
cool.
yeah. So
sorry, I was just making sure I wasn't tripping then.
No, that was definitely me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is like this is the figure I came up with, and like this down here, this right leg, this right arm, started channeling some of the Bridgman into that. Like I have this little Bridgman book, Like, okay,
Yeah, I
well,
see that.
let's see
see
what I
those
can get out of that.
forearms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So then I just started laying in on top of that, my pencil drawing. That's not going to do. There we go. And then, I tried my hand at inking, but I'm not getting too crazy about it,
Yeah.
more focused on the penciling, So this was interesting
sure.
because I was working with the legs and everything, trying to get that to work. Because he's sort of like flying a little bit, he is flying. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean it's been interesting trying to work on that, and you see where you have to work on things like I probably need to practice drawing faces a little bit more and get better at that. There's so,
Yeah.
like you said, there's so much to learn, but I think overall the drawing works. But I don't know. I don't think I'll be taking it any further. Maybe one day down the road I'll come back to it and it's in my saved files, and maybe one day I'll ink over it again. Maybe one day I'll come back and update some of the penciling. But
Yeah.
this is what I had originally. And obviously, what's wrong with this? Well, there's something wrong with the pelvis here. Like, where is it? You got to make space for like what's in the middle there. So you got to do that, and that's kind of how
Yeah.
it came to this point. But I had it to where the leg was like here. And I thought, well, just bring that leg in, and then maybe put foreshort and bring the left leg forward a little bit, and then you get a little bit of that lower leg, and then the foot down there. And it's kind of obscuring a minor part of that right leg, the little kneecap there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, James, is you're actually showing quite a bit of the pelvis there, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
You might feel like you need to show more of the abdomen and that you might need to show the foot, show the lower leg. Not always the case, especially with a pose like this. In fact, you could probably get away with showing even less of the pelvis here to create greater impact. Okay?
Yeah, and I think that's what I was trying to do here. I was trying to get that here, but I just, when you start drawing through here, it's like, okay, well, this leg is here, this leg's coming forward. Maybe what I should have done is I could have picked this leg up so the knee would have been more here, and that could have been different. Yeah, there's so many things you could do, but I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like, check this out. I'll show you something just real quick here. Okay, so you can see that, at the end of the day, we can get away with hiding quite a lot actually, and still having it look really cool. So let's say that this is your character's head here. We'll get nice and big with the head because it's going to be the closest thing to us. All right. He's looking down. He's real determined. And then let's say that we have the torso. And you can see that the head is sort of hanging over the top of the torso there, or the top of the chest at least. And this is the top of the chest, so we're looking at the direct top of it.
Yeah.
How much of the abdomen are we going to see here at the front? None of it.
None.
Right. Now we're going to have, I'm just going to draw in a little bit of anatomy here for the neck area, just so I can kind of, get that right. But we might have the shoulder coming through here now. And I'm going to be super quick with this. Now we might get a little bit of we might see a little tiny bump there for maybe a hint of the middle back, but then that's going to be hidden. And then we'll have, let's say, the upper arm coming back like so. That's going to come down here, and then we'll have this arm, and that's going to come out there. Let's say, I'm just going to keep this really loose. I just want to illustrate a really quick point here. But then we might have, one leg coming down here, like just straight out from underneath the top of that torso there.
Yeah.
And you know what? All that's going to do is make this character look way more dynamic. So check this out. We can actually go ahead and have this leg coming all the way down there. And you know what? We're not even going to bother putting really anything else onto this leg that's coming forward. Like, we're just going to say that it's tucked up underneath the back of him, right?
Yeah.
And so we can get away with that. We basically haven't had to draw an abdomen, haven't had to draw in a pelvis, can still tell what's going on. Now, probably if I took a look at this later on, I'd make a whole bunch of little adjustments here and there, but you get the idea. I think I've illustrated the point, is that you can hide quite a lot of the body and still have it work. And it's important when it comes to foreshortening not to be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Because we have this tendency to want to show everything, and it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, like when you were drawing that left leg and you're going all the way down and making the foreshortening that bottom leg and lower leg and then the foot and everything, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that I would have stopped. I would have stopped and not continued, but you have to. Like, just what's the worst that can happen? You don't like it, you just erase it and do something else.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I did with this drawing. Is I did that. I worked with it. I had this originally, and then I turned it into this. I thought, well, this is I don't know. This is sort of more of a better pinup.
It's good. You developed
than just this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it came from this, and when I started, it was all very rigid. It was all very like, okay, I'm gonna draw the rib cage and this and that, and what I ended up doing was just what you just did, where you can kind of see the remnants here, where I just did a circle here. I did an oval. I got the head here. I did an oval. I'm like, okay, great. Let me do a little pelvis here. You can barely see, whatever. And then I know I want to have one leg coming forward. Great. And then that's what I started with. And then I just kind of tweaked it until I got here, and I turned it on its axis a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to fill the. Yeah, it worked out. It worked out.
And see, you're rejigging the pose as you see fit.
Yeah.
You're not just sticking with the first thing that you come up with. Still, certainly, everything that I was showing Keith there, that's a lesson for you as well, James.
Yeah.
It's a lesson for you too, Matt. A lesson for you, Rex, as well. Like, a lesson for everybody to go through. If you go through it, there's definitely going to be a good chance you're going to get some benefit out of it. All right, and these are some of your other figure drawings you've been doing throughout the week, I see.
These are some that I did before the studio session. Went on Proco and worked some of these out, and trying to find one that I kind of thought was. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have different things happen with the legs here, and like you can tell that this is going back into space, right? So even though it's very rudimentary, there's foreshortening going on even here, because that's what's captured in the photo. It's happening,
for sure.
And then you just develop it as you go. But but I mean, one of the things I try to remember is, okay, I always keep my workflow the same. So I'll start with the head, right, and then I'll get the center line in, and then see that's too low. Get this in, and then we're gonna do this and join that together. Whole chest, leg.
Getting that process down.
I hate to interrupt for a second, but I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody, but it is an early day at work for me tomorrow, so I have to sign off.
You know
just
what,
reminded me,
Keith? Guys, we are literally going to wrap this up in like 2 minutes. So,
but anyway,
good.
That's
if you need to pop out though, Keith, you can jump out now. It's all good.
I was going to jump out, but thank you very much, everybody. Always great to see you.
No worries, Keith. Have a good one, and keep up the awesome work. All right.
Oh yeah, and thank you very much again, Clayton, for all the help and all of the feedback on the drawing. I'm definitely going to put it to good use.
Awesome. You're very welcome, my friend. Take care. I'll see you again soon.
Take care, everybody.
Later. But yeah, I
Alright.
mean, if anybody's out there, I highly recommend just doing these. And, you know, Clayton, you've also instilled in me to be consistent, you know, with how I do these every single time. Try to have the same methodology. Like I was just showing, if you're going to start with, if you're going to pick a particular part of the body, for me, I like to get the head first because it's going to give me some sort of direction. Then the
Yeah.
chest, then the pelvis. Join those two together. If you're finding it's a little, you know, you might find that your proportions are off, and you know this abdomen area is going to be a little too long, and you need to shrink it or whatever.
Totally.
Just do whatever you got to do, and just keep working it. I mean, I do these these are 1 minute sketches. The 30-second ones are just, for me, I'm
Yeah.
going to get to that point, and I should get to that point, but it's just too fast. Like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
is
it
like-
is.
it's
It's
hard
tough.
to get something on the page. At that point, you're just like here. You know, it's like you don't have a lot of time to really even fill in some of the shapes. You know, it's tough. But I'm going to try to push myself to do those 30-second ones too. But a minute
Certainly.
goes by pretty fast too. You know, so
It trains you
yeah.
well, though. It really does. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
going to say for you to try out, James, is I want to see you try to push the curve and the bend in some of these limbs a little bit more.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is I'll get my screen up here once again
Sure.
just to show you real fast, because it's always much easier to show you. I mean, we can see it on this character that I've done up actually. So what I'm noticing in your work is if you're drawing, let's say, a leg like this out, we're seeing something like this, right? Okay, what I want to see is I want to see something a little bit more like this, where we're really pushing the bend of each of these basic shapes. Okay, so we're taking the cylinder like this, and now we're really trying to push the gesture through it.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
And that's what's going to help to, and you're already working on this, but if you can integrate more of these curves, more of these gestural lines, it's going to help to eliminate even more of that stiffness that you might be suspecting is coming up within your figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just going to add that, more energy to them. And so, you can even practice this with your limbs on their own. Like, let's say that you got the arm there. Let's see if you can really push the bend of that upper arm. What happens if you do that? Push the bend of the forearm. Let's see how that feels. You could even do it with the fingers if you want, right?
It looks organic. It looks alive. It makes your
Does.
figure look alive. Yeah.
Now, it's still going to be cylinders, right? This is a version of what not to do, by the way, what I'm doing here. We're still using cylinders like this, but now we're treating them as though they're like rubbery ghosts of a shape. Okay? And I just want you to get into the rhythm of doing this, because, I mean, it literally adds rhythm to your drawing, but it's going to teach you to be able to lay down these shapes with that additional gesture. And, if you want, you can even get a little crazy with it. You can really push that bend, just see what happens when you really start pushing things. And who knows, you might be surprised with some of the results that you can get. Because, look, you can go over the top of something even like this that we've just drawn up here. Let's say that this is the shoulder, right? And you can add some pretty realistic looking anatomy to that, believe it or not. You can come in here, add in a bicep, a tricep. Get the elbow drawn in there. Get a wrist happening. And the thing is that as you start to refine the drawing, if you pumped this much gesture into the underlying structure, look, your character's going to look alive no matter how much you refine it. So it's just something to think about there, James. I think it's really going to be a benefit to you if you can start adding that into your figure drawings as you work. And the great thing about it is, given that you've only got 30 seconds to get these figures down, it's going to allow you to push the momentum of those lines even more. Okay, hopefully that makes sense.
It did.
But yeah,
Thank you.
all in all, great work, James. You're smashing it. You really are.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm seeing the benefits of doing everything that you told me to do and following, trusting the program and all of that. So it's pretty gratifying to be able to draw and put a figure down, work with it, and then maybe harness some other things, some other obviously using reference. I used. Let me tell you how I used reference this time. So the way I used it was, I brought in some Bridgman for some of the anatomy. I brought in, obviously, for the costuming, I had to look at the actual art itself to get the costuming down.
For sure.
For the face and everything, just some of your references and some of the actual references from the art itself book,
Totally.
So yeah, it was fun. It was fun, like just doing that. And now I'm gonna go back to my my gesture drawings. Keep going. But
yeah. Keep
just
at
to
it.
break out of my shell a little bit. Yeah.
Look, it's good that you're doing a little bit of both. You're taking what you've been learning from those figure drawings and you're using them in a more finished context.
Yeah.
And it's good to see the role that they serve within that. And, now that you have seen it, definitely make sure that you keep on pushing it with those gesture drawings, those figure drawings. We'll certainly talk about like where you're at in our next session and what to focus on next and take a closer look at where you're at. Just real quick, before I move on to Matt, and we do have to wrap this up pronto, but when you're working on Superman here, let's say you want to work on a section of him right now, how zoomed in are you? Like what distance do you work from?
Sure. So two things. One, I'm not normally I'm working. I've worked on this here, and I've also worked on a smaller tablet that I have. So I'm probably working in sections like this. I'm trying to get some of the line energy in here and do it that way. Then I'll move around here, and then obviously I'll flip the canvas. I'll look at it that way, and then I'll bring it back out like this to get the full picture.
Yeah, cool.
And see what I'm looking at compositionally. Good.
So I want you to do that quite often, okay?
Yeah.
When you're working in close, make sure that you're zooming out, that you're looking at it as a whole, that you're flipping it back and forth to make sure it's all compositionally sound as you develop it.
Yeah.
The other little tip that I'm going to give you right now is just hit Control-T on your keyboard and just shrink him down a little bit to give a little bit more margin around the outside of him. Just because if I zoomed out this far, it is feeling like his arms and his fist up the top is a little bit close to the edge of the page.
Yeah.
So just bring him in a little bit so that that's not the case. Otherwise, it's a very nice looking drawing, James. Keep at it.
Thanks.
Keep pushing it. And keep in mind what I said to Keith as well, because that'll help you with your drawings going forward, just as an additional consideration within your comic art arsenal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome stuff. Next up, we'll take a look at Matt. Matt's just been working away diligently on this. He's just casually smashed out 4 drawings tonight, maybe more. This is looking good, man. I'm really loving how you're exploring the character's personality and
that's what it is at this point.
Different expressions, and it's really making him come alive, I feel like. Like you're really breathing a soul into this character here as we look throughout these images.
That's the idea. I mean,
Yeah. How you feeling about him overall?
I like the way this character is going. I mean, this ink job is sort of a rush, but
Hey,
it's
that's
more
fine.
just to get me a better sense of the character's features, and like I was just winging it with the hands on the guitar strings, so I didn't have any reference. I just wing it.
Yeah, no, totally. I get that. That's all good. It might pay at the end to find some references,
Yep.
just to help you fill in the details a little bit. But I think that as an overall character design, you've got something pretty solid here. He's got a strong silhouette, I feel like, especially with that guitar, the boots, the shoulder area where the clothing gives him that sharpened shape there. Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on for him, and I just can't wait to see you develop him further. Definitely post him up into the How to Draw Comics Academy community,
Will do.
and we'll go over him as well in the feedback session this week.
Yeah. I'll
I
post
think
them
that'll
up.
be really cool. All right, awesome. And Rex, are you still there?
I gotta go, so I'll see you guys next time.
Later.
No worries. See you later, Matt. Have a good one, my friend. We'll see you again soon.
I think
All
Rex
right.
is on mute. Right? Oh,
Yeah. Well, yeah, Rex, you're on mute if you are there. But I have a feeling Rex might have
Stepped
bailed
away.
on us.
she might
but
have stepped
that's
away.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might have stepped away.
Wow, but what a drawing she's got, huh?
Yeah, really amazing stuff. Obviously, the rendering is great. I like the way she's doing those faces on her characters too. The rendering, awesome stuff. Can't wait to see this page done. It's going to look absolutely mind-blowing, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
good.
otherwise, yeah, well, it looks like Rex is...
AFK.
yeah, exactly.
No.
Sorry,
Well-
was doing stuff.
No, that's okay. We're just wrapping it up.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
wrapping it up.
I did the
But
wings.
that's all right.
Not the wings, the light.
Yeah, no. I was just saying that rendering is looking freaking phenomenal. So
Yeah, it's gonna be light, so I don't know.
wings made of light, right?
No, well, I think she's just entirely made of light, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
it requires rendering style different, so we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, experiment around with it. It probably won't be the first version you do.
Well, I just don't want it to. It's blending a bit into Daydream at the moment, so gotta stop
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, you got the tonal variation there, the difference in value, so that's a good thing.
It's looking okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Bit hard to paint light.
It is hard to paint light. You got the right idea. I mean, if you really want to make it look glowing, like it's illuminating, I would take out a majority of that rendering. I'll show you that in our feedback session this week, okay? You can submit this and
Yeah.
we'll take a crack at it.
Yeah, we'll see how I go, yeah.
Yeah. But
It's
otherwise,
awesome work. Yeah.
awesome stuff.
Yeah.
All right. We'll leave it there for today. 2 hours has just gone by in the blink of an eye, hasn't it?
I know.
Shit, it's been that long. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I missed it.
Crazy, right? Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll do another one again soon, Rex. Don't worry. Yeah.
Hope so.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. Every week. I'll do it every week. All right. So, for everybody tuning in on the socials, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure to hang out with you. Hope you got some drawing done as well. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments on the video, and I'll take a look at them. Hopefully, I'll get around to taking a look at them. You know, sometimes I'm not on the socials that much these days, but you know, when I do pop on, I like to check the notifications. So, yeah, all right. Well, until next time, everyone, keep on drawing, keep on creating, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.